Alright guys, so we're back for another Dokkan and Legends video. Now this video, I did a discussion with Goresh. We were just kind of talking about the, comparing and contrasting both Dokkan and Legends, some of the positives of each game, some of the negatives of each game, just having a good discussion about it. Now, when we were recording this, I was kind of like, I don't know, I kept losing my train of thought and stuff, so there are little moments throughout the recording where we were, pausing to, gather thoughts and stuff like that. And a lot of the discussion, like, kind of before we, kind of officially came back on, was pretty good. So I'm probably going to actually include some of this at certain points of this. So I'm sure, like, some of the transitions, like, between the stuff we're talking about might seem a little bit wonky at times, but that's why. I felt like it was a really good discussion from beginning to end. So, again, big shout-outs to Goresh for stopping by. And then here, let's go ahead and get into it now. Alright guys, so we are back here for another, I want to say Dokkan battle video, but it's sort of like a Dokkan and Legends video. I brought the homie Goresh along.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And we kind of figured it would be good to talk about some of the pros and cons of Dokkan vs. Legends, because a lot of people, I don't want to say, like, there's just, you see a lot of discussion about it on the timeline, but it seems like it doesn't go much further than that, right? Like, Goresh, we talked about this a little bit before, how people are kind of hesitant to do this.
Yeah, because I feel like if you bring this up anywhere, like on either social media or YouTube or whatever it may be, people sort of are either obviously going to be on one side or the other side of the argument, and it never really goes anywhere. But I think it's sort of good to just talk about the pros and cons of each game. And I mean, obviously, we all know at this point that they're both pushing each other to be either better games or improve in some way. So I just think it's something that needs to be said at the end of the day.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people say like oh, like we're doing this again, right? Like, Dokkan versus Legends discussion. But I do think it's like something that's always going to be there, because Legends themselves came out when the game first came out and said that, like, the game, a lot of it was built around feedback from Dokkan. Things people were talking about they wanted Dokkan to improve or do, Legends decided to take up. So because of that, it's always going to be like the opposite end of Dokkan, right? Like the other side of the coin of things that Dokkan never got around to improving, or, whatever with like PvP that Legends has decided to implement themselves.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned PvP, and I think that is pretty much like the deciding factor of what makes Legends unique in comparison to Dokkan.
I don't think PvP would necessarily work in Dokkan. Like, one reason is because Dokkan is, closing in on 5 years old now. I think it's too far gone to implement any sort of system that I think would be fair, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on how, we could speculate on this for years, but it would depend on how they implemented something like that. But I agree that I don't think that's the path they want to go down right now. But I think in terms of PvP and Legends, they sort of went into the development of the game with that being like their goal.
Yeah,
like
core
they wanted.
gameplay.
Yeah, they wanted the game to be around based around PvP, whereas in Dokkan it's obviously based around PvE. So I think sort of the core audience or the target audience for both games are completely, well, I wouldn't want to say different because they're both Dragon Ball games, but they cater towards players who are craving different sort of gameplay experiences. Yeah. So that's something that I was definitely wanted to make clear, because there are definitely people who enjoy both. Like, I know for myself at least, when one game is not, doesn't have as much to do, I like playing the other game and vice versa.
And you've talked too about how, so for Dokkan right now, for example, right, both versions, Global and JP, it's pretty slow. There's not really too much going on. They pretty much just dropped a banner on both versions and then said, all right, we're out. Like, no events, no new modes, anything like that. So that's where Legends really has an advantage, because if they don't drop any new PvE content, you've got PvP, which is endless.
Yeah, so I don't really want to say PvP is endless content, but it actually kind of is. Because you can just play, because if you play PvE in Legends, like, it's sort of just the same thing over and over again. I mean, sure, you can say the same thing for PvP, but at least you're getting, like, someone else that you're playing against every time. There's different teams, there's etc. Like, it's just, at least to me, when I play Legends, I feel that the PvP Like I can just kill hours upon hours of time playing PvP in Legends, whereas in Dokkan, I can't really say the same thing about PvE.
Yeah.
But I definitely still do enjoy playing PvE in Dokkan. It's just a different experience.
Yeah, one aspect of Dokkan I really like is the team building. Like when a new LR comes out, like I had so much fun testing out full power freeze. Like how does he work on this team, in this event, and this event? Like that does give me a lot of content. But like there's people who aren't going to enjoy like the actual team building aspect as much as like I will, right?
Right.
The other thing too about like Legends PvE versus PvP is that PvE is like gated. You can only do so much per day in Legends, and then it stops you. You can't do anymore.
Yeah, and I think this just sort of talking about one of the shortfalls of the game, in my opinion. Legends does feel very grindy, even more so than Dokkan does in certain aspects, and I'm not sure if that's necessarily good for a game focused around PvP, just because it sort of takes away from what the game is designed to be doing and what the game is designed to be like sort of orientating itself towards. But I do feel that it is sort of obsessively focused around grinding, and especially when you talk about like equipment and like Legends Road, and you have like the new Rising battles. So there's a lot of stuff to do, but I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
I will say the Rising battles in particular, I think are fantastic. Like, I actually have a lot of fun with those. I think even though it's something that annoys a lot of people at first, like how, on stage 3, like where it's like level 2000, right? You have to use hero units or you have to use extreme units. I like that. I think that's cool that, it kind of makes you have to use certain characters, like Shallot, for example. Like you need, like when the Broly Rising battle first came out, like you had to have your Shallot good to go in order to beat like those hero stages. And I kind of like that. Like I thought the Rising battles are done very well. And then both the Vegeta and the Broly are crazy.
Yeah, I will agree. I like that the fact that they're releasing better free-to-play options now, just because obviously there's a lot more teams that are relevant. And I will agree that I like the Rising battles because it forces you to use like a variety of teams. I do like the fact that, no one uses hero units, like this, just obvious, but they do make you at least level your hero units up and then soul boost them to complete those stages. I just feel that, like, I don't know, like if I want to play Legends, I just want to play PvP. I don't care about any of the PvE stuff. If I want to focus on PvE, I'll just play Dokkan. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. So another thing too is I feel like Dokkan and Legends, they definitely are like competing with each other. They have this competition in mind. Like we could get to it later, I guess, about like the Super Saiyan Goku dropping basically on, anniversary day for Legends. But I think the competition has been good for both games. Like Dokkan more recently has started putting out crazy free-to-play units as well. Like it started with the Goku and Vegeta, who, free units, completely free. But after they EZA, they become very competent units to the point where a lot of people, myself included, consider the Coat Blue Goku the best Blue Goku in the game. And like that's like a premium character, like Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and his best version is a free-to-play unit.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, even now we're seeing with the second form Frieza that just came out, like he's like Dokkan Fest exclusive level, honestly.
Yeah, it's because I found that some of his extra mechanics are very easy to get. Like, it's super easy on his teams to have an enemy with their defense lowered. And there's almost no bosses immune to that. Like, the Legendary Goku event, the most difficult event in the game, you could lower his defense the entire way through. So that Frieza will be able to do capable damage, and he's physical. So he would be good in that final stage there.
Yeah, and even, like, if you're like struggling, if like let's say you're a player and you're struggling with like Super Battle Road or the Legendary Goku event, like these new units that are coming out are constantly being specially tailored towards those events to help you.
Yes.
Which I think is definitely like it makes Dokkan a lot more free to play friendly has been in the past.
Now, but one other thing I think is good to mention about is like the sales of Dokkan versus Legends. I'll let you talk about this because I know you got a point to make about the happy bags and stuff like that.
Yeah, so just before we get into the happy bag stuff, like overall, every single time a banner releases in Legends, I know they have their own system that they use where there's like the Ultra Space Time summon banners, and then there's also the Legends Rising banners. And I know like there's different sales for different types of banners, but no matter what the sales are, they always are better than Dokkan sales.
Yes,
like Dokkan,
100%.
like, I made a meme about this on Twitter when before the Kid Goku banner released, that like like I'm gonna end it all if they only have 3 sales. and lo and behold,
sure enough, yeah.
lo and behold, I open up the app and there's like, oh, like buy the 91 stone pack 3 times only. Like,
not only is it a limited number, right? You only get the 3 packs, but it's such a small % off too. It's like I know for JP, I think normally a 90 stone pack for me is like $48, and then after the discount it's $36. Like that's hardly a gigantic discount.
Yeah, I think so. So basically, it's like I think it's like it goes like down by like $12 for me on the sale, and that's 3 times. So you're saving about $36.
Yeah.
But if you compare that to Legends sales, Legends has like almost 20 times you could buy the sale, and the discounts are just a lot better overall. Yeah, and you're able to just get a lot more value out of your money in their sales.
Yeah, because they'll usually have like a main sort of discount pack, for 2,000 crystals, and you're able to get that like 10 or so times, and then they'll have like a 1,000 crystal discount pack you can get 10 times, and then they'll usually have kind of like the special one-time only, like really good value ones.
Yeah, those one-time only like special sales are really good. It's like what? It's like $7 for like 1,000 Chrono Crystals?
Yeah, one multi. Like a multi in Dokkan is like what, like $30?
Yeah, I think it's like 26. It's like 26 or something. Yeah, it's like not even close. I think. But then again, it comes down to like what are the crystals actually worth compared to Dragonstones? Because obviously the rates in Legends are worse.
Yes.
But aside from that, I mean, let's just talk about this happy bag thing real fast, just because if you guys remember, we had these happy bags is what they called them, sort of like special sales for New Year's, and essentially what it was is I think in total it was like $120 or so for all the happy bags, and I think each bag gave you obviously they gave you the tickets for the special banner, they gave you souls, they gave you like bells, which is like the best training item in the game.
Real quick too, I remember that update was when they went up to level, was it 2,000? So like it was souls that like had not been available until that update that you badly needed. So it was even more real valuable, right?
Yeah, like souls, bells, like skip tickets, energy tickets, the tickets, like for $120, and I think in total it was like 29 or 30 guaranteed sparking tickets, and the pool of sparkings was only Legends Rising units, which are like the best units in the game.
Yeah, they're the equivalent to Dokkan Fest exclusives.
Pretty much, yeah, and they had all of the units up until that point. Like I remember Purple Broly had just come out like a few weeks prior to those bags, and then he was on that banner that you could pull on with those tickets that you got in the bag. And I remember myself, I pulled 2 of him. You know how many crystals I had to spend on the original Broly banner? I spent 46,000 crystals to pull the Purple Broly the first time before I got 1.
And the other thing too, I think, okay, so Super Saiyan God Goku was on that as well, right? And he had just come out like a day ago or 3 days ago or something like that.
Yeah, he was on the New Year's Step Up. Yeah, I think it was the same week actually that came out. Like on December 26th or the 27th, one of those days. Like less than a week before those bags came out. It was actually just ridiculous. I in terms of if we were to convert that to Dokkan, so picture the 250 million downloads banner, the ticket banner that like has like a million featured units. Picture that banner, only featured units, and it had every single Dokkan Fest exclusive up until that point. So you know how they did the cutoff after a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Get rid of that, and imagine they offer a sale for, I think it was like 30 tickets, so $120 for 30 guaranteed SSR tickets for that banner. Would you buy that?
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So I just feel like based off of what we've seen so far with Legends versus Dokkan in terms of sales, it's not even close.
So so the gold happy bag was 20 tickets, 300 skip tickets, 50 10. It came with 50 10 energy tickets. That's a huge number.
That's ridiculous.
It came with 70 4-star Super Souls, which was the one we needed. And
yes, 70.
And it came with 90 of the training item, the brand new training item. So it was set up to help you get your units to 2,000 or whatever.
Dude, that I can't.
But here we go. Like the silver one, 6 tickets, 200 skip tickets, 10 energy tickets, like the 50 more of the training item.
I can't believe they actually did that. Still, like, I can't believe it.
That Christmas UI Goku banner on Global, until the last Dokkan New Year's Eve banner, I would say that was the best banner in Dokkan history. The Christmas UI Goku banner.
Oh yeah, because that gave you the guaranteed featured unit, right?
Yeah, So that was the first time ever that I think they had done a guaranteed unit per multi. It was the ticket multi. You're able to get a guaranteed unit. And then, like, this pack right here gave you 10 Christmas tickets. So I would say this one pack from Peel Off Trove is a bit comparable to it. Legend still definitely takes the cake because all the other extra stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
the skip tickets are valuable. 50 energy tickets is insane. Like, the Super Souls can be a pain. Especially, they were more of a pain to grind back then because one strong thing with Legends, and Dokkan has done this recently too, all the quality of life update changes as they compete with each other. But Super Souls used to be so difficult to get, right? Because you had to grind like the story, like certain story stages for them. Yeah. Whereas now they've upgraded those daily, like the orb events. So not only can you get the Super Souls from doing those stages, but they also give you those specialized adventures, like the yellow adventure, and that gives really good rewards too. Which I don't know how new those are, but they weren't around, 4 months ago.
But even now, the Super Soul grinding's still annoying. Think about how insane 90 Super Souls is.
Yeah, that's like, so when this Happy Bag stuff came out, that was again when Legends upped up their level cap to 2,000. And if you had gotten, even if you got the second tier one, the silver bag, you're getting 150 Rising Souls, which is enough to get a decent amount. Oh, but that doesn't have, that's only got the souls and not the actual Super Souls. Okay, so you would have to get the gold bag to get those Super Souls, which would help you level up pretty much all of your units to 2,000.
Yeah, I don't think that's a big. I mean, I guess obviously some people wouldn't spend that much on the bag, but in terms of what you're getting, it's. I honestly can't compare it to anything that I know of.
Yeah. And then, like, for Dokkan, unfortunately, that was sort of like a one-time only thing, because they did another Christmas pack. This is, so a couple months ago, last December, where it gave 800 small and 400 medium of every type of orb, which is definitely decent. In total, you could, I guess, equate that to one rainbow unit, right? Then it gave a couple candy canes of every type, which, I mean, that's... training is not really that difficult in Dokkan at all anymore. And then a blue stone. And it's like, that's, those are old ass units. Whereas with the original Christmas pack, that getting that pack could guarantee you UI Goku, the brand new big time unit. And then the Legends ones, God Goku had just come out and he was on there. So
yeah, I think, well, not just God Goku too, because like they had Kaioken. I pulled Kaioken Goku on that banner.
Oh,
they had Vegeta. Okay. Yeah, they had Kaioken Goku, they had God Goku, and they had the Vegeta on there too.
It was just Beerus, because he was kind of like Legends Limited before they made that an actual term.
Yeah, it was. It actually was called Ticket Exclusive back then, because I remember Gohan also was Ticket Exclusive. Like in the promotional like coming soon banner art, it said like Ticket Exclusive character for Gohan.
Yeah, I remember. See, that's another negative I would say for Legends is how they've progressively gone with those. Like, people were complaining so much when Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was revealed to be ticket exclusive, right? But in reality, it wasn't that bad to pull him because he had what, a 20% rate?
20. I think it was 10. I don't. Maybe it was 20. Actually, yeah, you're right. I think.
Let me. I will pull it up. I'll pull it up real quick.
Yeah. But the only issue with that is that it's the same thing that I went through with the LR Gohan on Dokkan, because you don't need anything from the banner, but you have to pull on it anyway to get a chance at the Gohan.
Yeah.
Which is it just feels terrible. Because I literally had, like, when I was playing for LR Gohan, I had like 20 Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegetas in my box, and I was still summoning on their banners because I needed to.
Okay, so I looked up the Gohan ticket banner. Gohan was 20%, Cell was 20%, and Slug was 20%. Incredible.
Yep.
That's very good.
Yeah.
And then Beerus was 10%, and then all the other Sparkings were 0.5. So, 70% of the time or something, you're going to get one of those 4 units, which are the ones you want from that. Mm-hmm. And then, if we compare that to the anniversary banner,
yeah, I didn't pull. Okay, let's just say I spent around 80k crystals, and I didn't pull Super Vegeta one time from the tickets.
Yeah, because they went way less there. So Blue Goku and Frieza, we'll just talk, because the Goku and Vegeta ticket banners, they're the same, right? Just different units. Like, Goku and Frieza both have a 20% pull rate, which is equivalent to what Cell and Slug were. But then Vegito dropped down to 5%. So that we're directly comparing him to what Gohan's rates were. That's half, like less than half. That's, what, 1/4 the rate?
Yeah, so you want a comparison here. This is what I would compare it to. So your chances of pulling Super Vegito off of a ticket is the same as you singling a featured unit on a Dokkan banner.
Oh no!
It is. It's the same. It's 5%.
That's rough. that's rough.
So I recently went over 300 stones without pulling a single SSR doing singles. So that's what, 60 summons. So that's potentially 60 tickets that I could go without pulling Super Vegito. Not 60 tickets. 350 tickets, because that's 60 times 5. Oh wait, how many tickets do you need? No, you need 7. You need 7, right?
Yep.
So that'd be 430 tickets.
Wow.
Right? Okay. Or no, 420 tickets. Yeah, so 420 tickets without pulling Super Vegito is basically what that is.
I thought the ticket, like, exclusives were fine when, like, I thought Gohan, even Goten, right, was fine. Because, like, the way it reset, it was pretty easy to get a ticket every day. Then his rates tripled in the last couple steps, so you did have a reasonable chance of pulling him.
Okay, so the rate tripling thing was, you have an option to continue summoning on the banner after it becomes a quote-unquote normal banner for the day. Mm-hmm. Because the way that banner works is it reset on the daily reset, so step 1. But after you completed all the steps for the day, it would just become a normal banner. But quote-unquote normal, because only at that step would Goten's rate become 1%.
Now, on the normal banner, Goten did not have the 1% rate?
Yeah, so during the normal steps, so I think there was 7 steps like normal. I think during those first 6 steps, Goten's rate was 0.25%.
Okay.
So you would have to complete those steps first, and then his rate would be 1%.
And that's the same thing with Vegito too, where he has that 0.25% on all the banner multis, but unfortunately there was no step that raised him up to.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like at the very least, maybe if on like step 3, like we could only do one time, they raised him to like 1% on that. I think that at least that would have been like at least a show of good faith or something there to at least give some people a reasonable shot.
I think on the family Kamehameha step up, I think Goten's rate on tickets was 10%. I think.
I will pull it up.
So it's like every single step up banner has just been getting progressively worse and worse, except for the first one, because the first one was, I don't really count the first one with Demon King, but that was pretty bad.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So the Goten one has the same rates basically as the anniversary one. So Gohan and Goku are 20%. Goten is 5%.
Oh,
And
he
then
was 5. Okay.
Beerus and Gohan were 2.5, which that is the same as the anniversary ones. It's just it was a
Okay.
lot easier to acquire tickets, and Goten was easier to pull on the main banner than Vegito is.
Yeah, yeah. So Vegito is still the hardest unit to pull in the game, probably.
Oh yeah,
Ever.
he literally. So everyone knows that Vegito is 0.25. A typical Dokkan, or not a Dokkan Fest, but a featured LR, like just a featured LR banner of 12 units, is usually somewhere around 0.5 something, 0.517 or something like that. So you have twice the chance of getting like, you know, the new LR full power Frieza than you do of getting Vegito in a multi.
Yep.
Which
It's crazy. And if you want to get him to 7 stars, because you know, he gets a buff at 7 stars.
they're wild for this. This is they they were. Yeah, go ahead, please tell us.
So in total, you need 9,999 Z power to get a unit from 0 stars to 7 stars. So obviously you start at 0, and every time you pull a unit, you get 600 Z power. So if you do the math and do 9,999 divided by 600, that's 16.665. So you need to pull the unit 17 times to get him to 7 stars. And he has about half the pull rate of a featured LR in Dokkan. So now, I mean, there are tickets, and there are obviously the free multis. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit skewed, but they're essentially asking you to pull a featured summonable LR 34 times.
Now, one thing I will say though is that how big a buff would you say it is to have Vegito at 7-star compared to, I don't know, 3-star? Like, how much better would you say he is?
He gets a lot. He gets a lot better. A lot.
Okay.
Because if we let me just pull it up real fast. I know that he gets a health buff at 7-star. So let's look at his 3-star buff, because that's where he gets the double buff. So at 2-star he starts off with Fusion Warrior strike attack by 17%. 3 stars is when he picks up the strike attack and defense. So he gets the defense added onto there. It's 22%. Okay. Then 5 stars he bumps up to 28%. And then at 7 stars, he gets 30% of strike attack and defense. And then in addition to that, he gets 12% max base health of Fusion Warrior tag. And
that's a massive number too.
Well, let's take a look at Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. So Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks starts off at 2 stars, which I think it's safe to say most people do not have many stars in their Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks because of when he came out. Yeah. His 2-star Z ability is 14% to Fusion Warrior max base health. That's it. So Super Vegito at 7 stars basically is another character on your bench.
Yeah, okay. So at least the one thing I can say is that from my experience, I've definitely found in Legends that skill trumps like wailing, right? Like you could have a 7-star Vegito, but like if the player you're fighting just has a lot more skill with a lot of the tech, like that's not gonna help you that much. So
I agree.
At least even though there are like whales out there who would have like a full 7-star team, it doesn't guarantee they're gonna be #1 in the PvP leaderboards, right?
Right, I agree with that. And something else just to mention too is actually for both games, because on the side of Legends, they do buff the 5 least used Sparkings and 5 least used Extreme characters. I think I think it's like every 4 or 5 months at this point, which seems like a long time, but it's the buffs make a huge impact. If you remember what happened last time.
I remember seeing a video of you using Turles. that was pretty funny.
Yeah, so the buffs that they give to these units are they're really good for free-to-play players who who maybe have had a unit for a long time, but they're just not good anymore because they've been power crept. It sort of allows them to build teams around them and be competitive again. Just because when I say buff, I mean like buffing, because a unit like Turles before the buff was like unusable. He was completely terrible. But after the buff, he was like one of the best units in the game. So it makes a huge difference.
I really like with the buff is how they add to the Z abilities, right? Like we just saw they announced with the first form Frieza, the Extreme, that he's going to buff, is it Frieza Force at 5-star?
Yeah, so the Pod Frieza and the EX Frieza are both buffing Frieza Force at 5 stars now.
Yeah, so they're completely changing team dynamics. Like they're giving like players more options. Because again, that first form Frieza, like, you know, there's the story event, which doesn't go away, which will give you him. Like, if you don't have him for whatever reason, say you're a new player, you just do a couple stages of that story event, and you're going to get him for free. Like, You're not going to be able to get the extra Z ability, but his extra buffs and stuff, you'll still be able to access.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we could talk about the Dokkan side, too, because we have EZAs there, but...
yeah, Dokkan EZAs are probably the best change Dokkan has ever made, I would say.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it, but I would tend to agree with that too.
Because, like, we could start with how they would turn a unit like In Janemba. Now, In Janemba, before his EZA, was a usable unit. Like, people kind of are rewriting history and saying, like, people were saying back then that Tech Beerus was, like, the worst unit in the game, which he wasn't even close to. Tech Beerus, before his EZA, could get to, like, a 1.7 million attack stat easily with LR Beerus. He got a lot better when LR Beerus came out. But you take, like, Janemba and Beerus before and after their EZAs, now they're within the top 10 best TURs with how powerful they are. So you take units that came out years ago, like Janemba was the first year anniversary unit. So a unit that's been on dozens of banners becomes arguably right now the best TUR in the game. Better than Blue Gogeta, better than Dokkan Fest Kigoku. All the newest TURs are outdone by Janemba, it seems like. Every time I use him, I just get that indication. He's just that good.
Yeah, and I think if you compare recent EZAs to older EZAs, there's quite a noticeable jump in the amount of increase they're getting from the buffs.
Yeah, they're not scared to make these units just stupid, which I think is really nice.
Like people talk about like the I remember when the EZA Final Form or the Full Power Frieza came out, people were like, "Oh, like I expected way more or whatever," but he's really good. Even with the new LR Full Power Frieza that came out, I could see one of the reasons of them delaying the LR being that they didn't want him competing with the EZA so quickly after his release.
Yeah, because they didn't do a lot for the physical EZA at first glance because they did not change his attack buff on his passive, right? But just the extra attacks that he gained from his EZA was enough to push his passive to another level, to where all they did was give him a little bit of defense as the first attacker and on super attack, and then with the extra attack from the EZA, and he, becomes ridiculous. Yeah,
I think a lot of what these EZAs are designed to do is they sort of plug in the holes of what the downside to a lot of these units. Like I know, like for Janemba, for example, like he definitely was not a hard hitter at all prior to his EZA.
I remember him getting to around 700k, like if you're really setting him up.
Yeah, and now he's like almost near 3 million.
Yes, he can break 3 million.
So it's like I wouldn't even consider them the same unit. Like when you consider pre versus post EZA.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, so I think in terms of that, Dokkan and Legends are pretty comparable.
The other thing I will add too, real quick, is that EZAs, so we've established how crazy they make the units, but they also do give 35-ish stones, somewhere around that number. They give you about enough orbs to, I think, 90% the unit. And they give you somewhere around 10 Grand Elder Kais to basically get them to SA 15 for free.
Yeah, plus all the Zenny you can get.
Oh, yeah, because at every stage you do past stage 30, you get 1.5 million Zenny. And, EZAs are offset in that some of them do cost, maybe 30 million Zenny to fully EZA. But, even free-to-play players now, so if we take the LR full power Frieza, for example, if you pull him, you can easily get past stage 100 on the Kid Gohan EZA. So that's, you know, what, like 70 times 1.5 million that you get pretty easily, like because it doesn't cost stamina to do those stages, so you're able to just do them for free.
Yeah, and also I just want to mention that most of the units that have gotten EZAs are all accessible via the Redstone, which is free.
Yes. And now even the Blue Stone has never been free for the recent EZAs, but a lot of times it was a pretty good deal. Like, you know, they would give you, I think it was 100 stones plus the Blue Stone, something along those lines, for about the same price as a normal 90 stone pack.
Yeah, so I kind of expect them to at some point make that Blue Stone free as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised
for sure.
Yeah.
But, see, I'll let you start this one out too. You can talk about Turles.
well, it's sort of weird because I think it depends on the scenario too. Because, like, for Legends, when was the last time they brought back some of these units? Like, I'm looking, especially the Legends Rising units. Like, I saw a lot of people talking about how, like, when the Pod Frieza buff was announced, they're like, who cares? Like, I don't have him, and it got like 80 upvotes.
Okay, I guess it's because, so those units do return frequently, but they're on like these kind of like fillerish banners, like Legends Hybrids, Legends Androids, Legends Movie Saga.
You know the two big culprits of that? The first one is the purple Gohan. He's never been on a banner besides his original banner, and then whenever they brought it back, and Legends Hybrids.
Okay, so like it's either get him on like a step up, or you have to summon on like the Legends Hybrid banner.
Yeah,
okay.
And then the same thing with Blue 18. Blue 18 debuted on Legends Android, and then she's only ever been on that banner besides like step up banners.
Okay, I see. So it's like, yes, the units do return rather quickly a lot of the times, but not
it's really
in the
hard to pull.
Best scenarios. Okay.
Yeah, like with God Vegeta, his pull rate is like 0.25 when he returned.
On the Blue Gogeta banner, right? He returned?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull up the Blue Gogeta banner real quick just so we can take a look at this. So I remember this was there's been like a swell of negativity that has built up around Legends. I would say this was like one of the first points where it really started. Because Legends have been so generous with like the tickets, like you would buy a unit in the shop for like, $25 to give you some crystals. It would give you a free unit from the banner. They changed that to a ticket, to which now you could get like old Sparkings with. The UST banners, like they used to give you. Did they originally used to give you 3 pulls at those for the guaranteed Sparking, or was it always 3?
I think like the first few was actually.
Okay, and then it only used to be the banner units too, but now they've done that where they opened it up to the whole pool of Sparking units as well.
And something else to talk about too is that even within that pool, they don't include the most recent units, and they don't include some, like, for some reason they exclude like some units too. So if you look at the anniversary step up that's going on right now, there are no Broly movie units on there.
Yeah,
and there's also no Family Kamehameha units on there either.
I am definitely expecting like a Legends Broly movie banner and then a Legends Sun Family banner that might have them coming up maybe even soonish. I would say, like one of those filler type banners. Oh, another thing that's unfortunate about those filler type banners is they don't have daily discount singles on them.
Yeah, that's true. They don't.
Okay,
I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, that like I can understand for like the step ups and stuff, right? But like those, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So Blue Gogeta had a 1% pull rate, which is definitely good. Like Dokkan, if we're comparing it directly to Dokkan Fest, like exclusives or featured units, they don't have a 1% pull rate. They're like 0.7 something, I believe. Usually.
Yeah, 0.7. Yep.
Then like Blue Broly was 0.25, Purple Broly was 0.25, and God Vegeta was 0.25. After that, everything else was 0.09, and then kind of scaling down from there.
Yeah, and that was the first banner that God Vegeta came back on, and I specifically didn't summon on his first banner because I knew he was coming back soon, but they went ahead and pulled that, so don't have him still.
Yeah, and then like if we talk about Dokkan, I'm actually not the biggest fan of usually how long they wait to bring units back. Like back in the day, I would understand, but nowadays with so many viable teams and stuff like that, I don't think they need to wait, 6, 7, 8 months to bring units back, like on banners. So like we could talk about Metal Cooler, right? So Metal Cooler released on Halloween, and then he came back on like April 1st on Hits banner. Like that is a pretty large chunk of time.
Yeah.
And like to me, more so, what is an issue is that's a large chunk of time where Cooler was only on one banner that I felt like a lot of people did not summon on, so it's very difficult to run his leader, right? So like these units, like, in Goku Black, you never had trouble finding him because he's a super hype unit, Goku Black. But they'll release these new category unit leaders who are fun. They're different, not like a Saiyan. We've got a million Super Saiyans in the game, so they give us something fresh like Metal Cooler, but it's very difficult to use his theme because they wait so long to bring the units back, and then on these original banners, it's almost like a continued effect. Because they wait so long to bring units back, some of these banners aren't as good as they could be, right? So like had the Metal Cooler banner originally had, I don't know, let's say Ultra Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku on there. All of a sudden, people would have summoned a lot more on that banner, and then more people could have had Cooler. So that is sort of a continued issue, even though Dokkan has made changes to the friend system that I think that's something they need to improve.
Yeah, and especially when we look at units like Turles on Global. If you guys have paid attention to it at all, I mean, Turles, the first banner he was on was obviously his own banner. That was back in August last year. And he was on the New Year's, like the Step Up New Year's banner with like all the other SSRs that were on it.
Yeah, but that's like you can barely even count that. Really.
Yeah, I don't count that. And then since then he hasn't come back once. So it's I mean, he's scheduled to come back on the anniversary ban in a little less than a month from now. But that'll be 11 months with him not returning.
So Turles officially has the longest time he's been away in the game's history then, right?
Yeah, 11 months, almost a year, basically.
Because I remember SCR Rose for JP, he came out basically on New Year's Eve, essentially, and then he came back on August 31st for the 250 million download celebration.
Yeah, this is worse.
Yeah, Turles is months worse.
And I know because I really want dupes in him, but
a lot of people. I've seen a lot of, because I've had on some of these banners, Turles has come back frequently now on JP, so I've had 20 extra copies I've bought, and I've seen a lot of global players are like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, well, I think the thing that made the difference was the 250 million downloads banner for JP was so better than global.
Yeah,
and they never like found a way to reconcile that.
Yeah, that's true, because so Turles had just come out for Global, so they didn't want to turn around and put him back on the banner. And then Evolution Blue Vegeta wasn't even out yet, so he wasn't on those banners either.
Yep. Same thing with Super Saiyan 3 Bardock wasn't on the banner either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and he's... I talked about this earlier with Goresh, but he is one of the units that's aged like best in the game's history. I think Bardock is still just as good as right now as he was day one.
Yeah, he's like one of those units that will never age poorly just because support passes like that are always going to be useful in some way.
And even Link's, like, units that have Prepare for Battle and Over in a Flash are incredibly valuable as, like, bridge-type units.
Yeah, and he can tank well, too. So, I mean, he just fills a lot of gaps.
And he even seals on Super Attack.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, so that's pretty much about everything we have to say on sort of the Dokkan vs. Legends thing. I think continued discussion about the pros and cons of each game is kind of a good thing because, they both have Dragon Ball Z in the title. Legends, again, is stated to be built from Dokkan feedback, but more importantly, the games very clearly continue to thrive off of each other. Like, one reason I think Dokkan was never improving back in the day is there was no competition. They were, hitting number 1 in the App Store without any effort needed to be put in. But now that Legends is there, Legends is competing. Legends has done some wonky stuff, but overall they have done a lot of quality of life changes, a lot of improvements as well. And so the games just continue to thrive off of each other, and I think it leads to a better experience for everyone, that the games are improving off of each other.
I completely agree. I mean, I think obviously people are going to prefer one or the other, but there's also going to be those people who just like playing both games. Like for me, like I play both games a lot, but in terms of dry periods for Dokkan, I play Legends. In terms of dry periods for Legends, I play Dokkan, and I just see it I see it continuing that way for a long time, because both games fulfill different desires for me. You know, one's PvP, one's PvE. So I mean, you can go on and on. There's pros and cons for both games. So yeah, I just feel that competition also is very healthy for both, and hope they continue improving steadily as we march onwards.
All right, so there we go, everyone. There's kind of our thoughts on, you know, Dokkan versus Legends and stuff like that. Again, I think both being around is a really good thing. Let us know what y'all think down in the comments. Thanks again, Goresh, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I'll catch y'all next time.